Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, what is an object in Java programming? Let me answer. Object is a representation of real world entity. So what is an object? Let me write down this here. So what is an object? Object is a object is a representation of a real world entity in programming. Okay. In programming like Java programming or any other programming languages like Python, C Sharp, wherever you go, object is nothing but a representation of a real world entity in programming. So what exactly is this real world entity? In order to understand this particular statement, which is explaining about object, first we need to understand what exactly a real world entity is. So what is a real world entity? Real world entity. Anything that you see in this real world, in this world, whatever you see, okay, that is nothing but a real world entity. For example, let's say before me, I see a lot of items, guys. Okay, so I see my laptop, okay, I see my headphones, then I can see my mouse pad. Okay, I can see a book. I can see a pen. Okay, so and a lot of other stuff I can see here, like I can see a router. I can see a photo frame. Okay, I can see a wallpaper. Okay, I can see a door. I can see some lights kind of stuff. Okay, I can see walls. I can see a window. And so on, so on, so on, so on, so on, so on. Okay, if you go outside, you will see a lot of stuff. You will see birds, you will see animals, you will see cars, buildings. Okay, all those stuff, trees, plants, whatever, flowers, whatever that you see in this real world. Okay, is nothing but a real world entity. Such kind of real things in this world, real world entities, if you want to represent in Java programming or any other programming which supports object oriented nature like Python, C Sharp also, is nothing but an object case. Okay, we simply call an object as a representation of this kind of real world entities into the programming. Okay, so Java is one such kind of programming language where you can create objects to represent this sort of real world entities in our program. While programming, if you want to use this kind of real world entities, if you want to enter this real world entities into the programming, the way in programming is to create an object, guys. Okay. So object is nothing but a representation of a real world entity in the programming. Okay. Fine. Okay, then there is another variation of object. Okay, to understand the object, people also say that we have to give this line as an answer, guys. Okay, the proper answer for this question, most of the people give the second line as an answer immediately. But if someone asks you what is an object in Java programming, don't directly jump to object is a instance of a class kind of answer. Okay, first mention that object is a representation of real world entity in programming. Okay, so object in programming will allow you to represent this sort of real world entities into the programming language. Okay. Program while coding, you can represent such kind of real world entities into the programming. Okay. With the help of objects. That's what is object. That answer you give it. Okay. And after that, you can also say that after you explain all this stuff, real world entities like this kind of stuff can be represented in programming by creating object. After explaining that stuff, you can also mention that object is also an instance of a class. Okay, to understand object, we have to understand the second line also. This should come in the second place only. First, you have to answer this one, and after that, you have to say object is an instance of a class. Okay, object is an instance of a class. So how object can be created as an instance of a class? Okay, so first we have to create a class. In order to create an object, first we have to create a class. So to understand the object, everyone has to understand what is a class. Okay. So then you will understand what is an object and how the objects can be created, how these real world entities can be represented in programming with the help of objects. You'll understand only when you understand what is a class. So what is a class then? To understand object, we need to understand class. So there's no other way. Class is nothing but class is a template or blueprint or a plan kind of stuff, okay? Class is nothing but a template or blueprint or plan kind of stuff, guys, okay? So class is a blueprint or template or plan kind of stuff which can be used for creating objects, okay? Using this template or blueprint or plan, what we will do, we can create objects. So if someone asks you what is a class, you have to say that class is like a template or blueprint or plan kind of stuff using which we can create objects, guys, okay? So if you have a template, what you can do, you can use the template to create a lot of things, right? So, okay, for example, I'll tell you some different examples I'll give you guys. Okay, first example I'll say, you see, you went to an engineer, okay? So, engineer, like civil engineer, I mean to say, and the civil engineer has given you a plan, okay, plan or blueprint or template kind of stuff, which contains all the things like this is a room, this is a living area, and all those stuff. Okay, the entrance is sideway, and all those stuff, windows where the windows should be there, and okay, ventilation part, everything. The kind of high level template or blueprint or plan the engineer has given. Okay, but using this plan, we can create objects, okay? That is nothing but in real world, we can construct buildings or houses with the help of this template, right? So the real world entity here in this example is a house, okay? So like many houses we can create, not just one house with the same plan, we can create multiple houses, right? Here in this case, houses are like objects, real world entities, okay? So class is like a template or blueprint or plan kind of stuff, okay? Using which we can create objects, okay? So, it's a template means, for example, there is a car template. Another example I'll take here in this case, took the example of a civil engineer creating a plan, a template or blueprint using which we constructed different houses using this plan. Okay. So this is one thing, or there may be another example I can give you where is a like we can use class as a template or blueprint or plan. Okay. So here I can create a class to represent something like a car. Okay. A car should have car we should drive the car, we can stop the car, okay, we can increase the speed, we can decrease the speed, okay, we can turn over the we can drive the car in all the directions and all those things. So a template is there, but it is not a real car, okay? How the car should be there, the plan is there, a blueprint or template is there, but using this plan or template or blueprint, we can create different cars in this world, right? Like a car from different model, color, okay, cost and all those things. Another car having different price, mileage, model kind of stuff. Another car having different color, price, mileage, okay, company, model, etc. Like that, many cars can be created. Okay, here a blueprint is nothing but a class. Using this class, we can create real cars. Okay, using this class group blueprint, we can create different cars that we generally see on the road. If you go onto the road and see, not all cars are same, right? This real world cars are not same. You can see some highly priced car, some low priced car, mid-range car, okay, and you will see SUVs, you will see sedans, okay. So electric vehicles, non-electric vehicles, vehicles which run on CNG, okay. So lot of varieties of cars are there in this real world, and for creating these cars, we need a template. The template is nothing but a class, but this real world cars that you see on this road, on the road, when you go and see on the road in the real life, right? Those are like objects, okay? But how these objects can be created, how this kind of cars, real world cars can be created with the help of this car template, okay? How these real houses can be built with the help of this plan given by the engineer for building this buildings, okay? So here these plans or templates are nothing but classes, whereas the real world things that you see after building them or creating them are like real objects, okay? Objects can be created with the help of class, okay? So here the thing is, object is an instance of a class, okay? Using the class template or blueprint, we'll create the objects, okay? To say this line, we generally say in this way, guys, okay? This is a definition kind of line, but this is actual meaning of the line. Class is a blueprint or template or plan for creating objects, okay? In programming languages like Java, Python, C Sharp. So simple words, instead of mentioning this line, people generally mention object is an instance of a class, okay? Object is created with the help of a class, where class will act like a template. Using the template, some different type of objects can be created, okay? Real world entities can be created, okay? Fine. So let me practically demonstrate how to create an object and what exactly is an object and how its relation with the class. Okay, how the object will represent a real world entity in programming and all those stuff I'm going to show you practically. Okay, theoretically, hope you understood. Okay, first of all, object is a representation of a real world entity in programming. What is a real world entity? Anything that you can see in this real world, like all these examples I have given, is a real world entity. Such kind of real world entities, if you want to implement or represent in programming, we need to create objects. But how to create objects? With the help of a class. So what is a class? Class is like a template or blueprint or a plan using which we can create objects. Okay. So these are some examples. Now let's get into the practical stuff where, I'm going to create objects and class objects and by creating objects, I would like to represent real world entities into the represent or implement the real world entities in programming. But how to create objects? In order to create objects, first we have to create a class, that is a template or blueprint. So here, to get started, I have to first create a class, guys. Okay. Without creating a class, can I create objects? No. We need a template or blueprint or a plan for creating objects, right? So first I'm going to create a class, guys. Okay. So class D, I'll say. I'll just give a name like car itself. Okay. I'll just name this name of the class as a car. So car template or blueprint or plan I'm creating, click on finish. Whenever I'm creating a template, right, I generally don't create main method, etc. inside the class. Okay. So you see public class name. I'm going to use this class as a creating template. Okay. So what does a car generally contain? So string car will contain company. Okay. There will be company, which company car. Okay. Model of the car. Every car will have some model. Then int, every car will have some price. Then double mileage, car will have some mileage, right? String, car will have some color, etc. etc. Lot of things will be there to define this car, right? We need a lot of variables to be created, guys. Not, you see, how can I create a template or blueprint or plan for this particular class? By creating some variables and methods. With the help of some variables and methods, I can create the template for this car class. Okay, for the car class, I'm creating a template. So here in this example, I'm taking only 5 variables, but in real time, a car will have a lot of variables, guys. Okay, and similarly, methods. Methods are like, behavior kind of stuff can be written in methods. Okay, the data can be stored into the variables, but behavior. Okay, so how the car should act, such kind of things will go into methods. So public void start car. What a car can do? We can start a car, right? Start car. Okay. So here I'll simply write down system.out.println car having the car from this particular company plus this company. Okay. Having model. What model? This particular model. This particular model has started. Has started, I'll say. Okay. That's it. When you call this method, the car will start. Okay. Car from that particular company and model will start. Similarly, one more method I'll create, that is public void. Public void. Public void stop car. Here also system.out.println car from this company having model, which model, this particular model. So I'll write down plus model as stop. Okay, fine. So then next thing is one more method, public void start car, stop car, car details. Okay, car details. Okay, if you call this method, all the details of the car should be printed. Starting from the company to the color, everything should be printed. System.out.println company of the car is which company? This company. This company. Okay, plus company data will be stored in that company variable of the class, right? So, and similarly system.out.println model of the car is plus this model. Plus model. System.out.println. Then we have price. Price of the car is less price. Okay, this particular price. Then mileage. I'll just print it out. System.out.println. Mileage of the car is plus mileage. Then this mileage is done. Then color. System.out.println. Color of the car is plus color. Okay. So fine. So the template is now ready, guys. Okay, the template is now ready. A car class template I created. Class template. Class is nothing but a template blueprint or plan for creating objects. So the template is now ready. A kind of structure or kind of template or blueprint, whatever you call. So that car generally has all the methods and all. Okay. Now using this class, using this car class as a template, we can create objects. How? So for that, I'll just create a method. Another class. Demo. I'll just name this as demo C or something. You can give any name here for the class. With main method, I'll create. You can create any method, that's okay, but I'm just using main method so that I can run this code from here. Fine. So class and inside that method is there. Now, for using this class as a template, this car class as a template, this demo C I'm not using as a template. Okay, even though this is also a class, but car class I'm using as a template, whereas demo C I'm using it for a different purpose, guys. Okay, so car class I'm using as a template, but demo C class I'm not using as a template, guys. Okay, so here I'm using demo C to create objects for this car class, etc. Okay, so how to create an object for this class? So I have to use a keyword known as new and followed by the name of the class, that is car. Like this, you have to create an object. The moment you create an object, okay, so this is a statement that we have write for creating an object. Okay, new car. And what happens in the computer memory is once you say new car, once you create an object for this class, let's say this is a computer memory. In the computer memory, in this computer memory, some memory will be reserved. Some memory will be reserved. An object will be created. For that particular object, some memory will be reserved. Okay. The moment you say new car, one object will be created. Let's name this as just call this as object 1 for now. Okay. For the first object that is created for this class, car class, some memory got reserved in this entire computer memory. And I'll say C. I just give some object reference. Okay. In order to refer to this memory location where the memory got reserved for the first object that you created for the class. Okay, this memory address will have something like 10111 and all those stuff. Okay, that we cannot remember, so we have to give some name. Okay, we have to refer to this memory location not with the help of this memory address number, rather with the help of some name. We have to give some name to this objects allocated memory, that we generally call that as object reference. Okay, object reference. So the name that locates okay, that refers to the location where the memory got reserved for the firstly created object. Okay, so here I'll just say HAMZ. Okay, HAMZ is the name I'm giving, just intentionally. You can understand what I'm trying to do. So HAMZ is equal to, okay, this becomes an object reference that refers to the object. Okay, that refers to the location of the object in the computer memory. Okay, this is object reference which refers to the location where object got created in the computer memory. Object memory got allocated in the computer memory. Okay, fine. So this is an object reference which refers to the memory that got allocated for this created object. Okay, so that's why we call that as an object reference. It's refers to the memory location of the object. Okay, fine. Now, so object reference need to be defined. Like we define the variables with different data types like int, float, double, and all the stuff, right? Similarly, this object reference need to be defined with a class for which the object is created. Okay, you create an object for which class? car class. So I have to define this object reference with same car class. That's it. There it will be gone. Okay. Now using this object reference, we can access all the members of this class, all the variables and methods of the class I can access. So what is the use of creating this object? What is the use of creating an object? By creating this object, I'm going to represent a real world entity in this programming. How can I, you see, I just now created an object, but how I'm going to represent a real world entity by creating an object here? By using the object reference, you see, I'll do a lot of stuff. HAMZ dot, when I say dot, all these variables of the class template are coming, company. What company this is? HAMZ is a short form for Honda. H for Honda, AMZ for Amaze. Amaze is the model. Honda is the company of the car. I'm representing a real world entity, guys. Okay. In India, we have this Honda company's Amaze model car that I'm representing, guys. Okay. So as a real world entity in programming with the help of object. Okay. Company model. We have created an object to represent a real world entity. By writing these lines, I'm representing a real world entity, guys. Okay. HMZ.model is equal to Amaze model. Okay. Amaze model. Then what is HAMZ dot? Then we have price. What is the price of this car? Let's say 9 lakhs is the price of the car. 9 lakhs in Indian rupees. Okay. Then after that HAMZ dot mileage. What mileage does the car give? 14.37. Okay. Some double value. That's why I declared that as double here. And color of the car. So what is the color of this car that you see in this real world? Even Honda Amaze has a lot of colors. I'm just choosing one color. Let's say gray color. Okay. That's it. So like this, I'm creating an object. I'm representing a real world entity, Honda Amaze kind of car, real car I'm representing by creating an object for this car class template. Okay. Now, not only that, we can also start this Honda Amaze car. We can also stop this Honda Amaze car. And also we can print all the details like starting from company model, all the things that we have assigned, right? The details we can print it out by calling this car details. How to call this methods inside this class? Already we create an object, right? Using the same object reference, not only we can assign the object related, that particular object related data to this particular variables of this class, okay? So to create an real world implementation of the car, of this Honda Amaze car, okay? We create an object and we assign some values, and similarly we can call the methods HAMZ.start. Which car will start? If I say HAMZ, already the values are assigned, okay? So the start car. So car from company. Which company? Company we mentioned here, Honda. Car from Honda having model. Which model? Amaze is a model. Having model Amaze has started. Has started will be printed. Similarly, if you call this stop car method, same thing will happen. HAMZ dot stop car. So here car from company. Which company? Honda. Having model. Which model? Amaze has stopped will be printed when I call that method. Similarly, to call the third method, whatever the number of methods that are there in this template, okay? HAMZ dot car details. If I say car details, this method will be called using the object reference of this object. And because of that, company of the car is which company I gave Honda. Model of the car is which model I gave Amaze. Price of the car is which price I gave 9 lakhs. Mileage of the car is 14.37. Color of the car is a gray color. Like that, everything will be printed. That's okay. Okay. So there is one object I have represented so far. Okay. I've created one object, guys, to represent a real world entity like Honda Amaze kind of car in this programming. I have to create an object. Okay, I have created an object for this part using with the help of the template. Okay, similarly, I can create any number of objects. Only one class template is there, but using this class template, I can create any number of objects. Here only car class is there. For that, I can create any number of cars. First car I created. I'm going to create another car now. New car. Okay, so the moment I say new car here in the computer memory, some memory location, memory space will be allocated for this second object, object 2. Okay, this is the second object created for that car class. And what will be stored in this memory location? Already I gave the values, right? I gave the values here. Company is equal to Honda. Only those details will be, okay. Company is equal to Honda. Model is equal to Amaze. Then what is that? Price. Price is equal to 9 lakhs. Then mileage is equal to 14.37. Then color is equal to gray color. All these details got stored here, okay, in this object 1, for which HAMZ is the object reference. Now I'm creating another object. The moment I say new car, some memory will be allocated for the second object, and again the same thing, guys. I have to give the object reference here. So I'll give another object reference here. Let's say HYI20. Okay, HYI20 I'm giving. So I'm just have this is object reference. So the moment I say object reference here, the name that we can use for referring to this location of this memory, okay, allocated for the object 2. So this is nothing but HYI20, right? HYI20. Okay. So what happens here? I have to declare this object reference with the same class type for which object is created. And after that, using this object reference, I'm going to represent a real world entity like HYI20 dot company. What is the company of the HYI20? Hyundai. Okay, Hyundai company. Okay, car company is Hyundai. HYI20 dot model. What is the model? Model is I20 is the model. Okay, I20 is the model. Then HYI20 dot price. What is the price? Let's say 12 lakhs is the price. 12 lakhs in Indian rupees. Okay. Then HYI20 dot mileage. Mileage is 11.45. Okay. This is a mileage. Then HYI20 color of the car. What is the color? The car has I20 dot color. Color is equal to, let's say, white color. Okay. Done. Then I can also start this Hyundai i20 car. I can stop the Hyundai i20 car, and I can print all the details of this Hyundai i20 car. For that, HY i20 dot start car, HY i20 dot stop car, HY i20 dot car details. So if I run this code, you will see that two objects got created, guys. And in this memory allocated for this particular object, what values will be stored? This object related values will be stored. The same values will not be there. For example, you see company is equal to Hyundai. Then model is equal to I20. Then price is equal to 12x. Then mileage is equal to 11.45. Then color is equal to white color. Okay, like this. Whatever the respective values of this particular object, representation of the real world entity will be stored in this memory allocated to the object 2. Like that, any number of objects you can create, guys. Okay, here for example, I'm creating only 2 objects, but you can create 100 cars, 100 real world cars you can represent with the help of this car class template. We can create this kind of 100 objects. Each and every object has its own properties. Honda, Amaze, this one has different values, and so on. Okay, fine. So if I run this code, you can see that in the output, all these things will be printed. Okay, so you see, all the methods will be called. Car from the Honda having model Amaze has started. Honda Amaze has stopped. Company of the car is Honda Amaze 9 lakhs 14.37 gray. And car from the Hyundai having model second object related stuff. This one. Okay, I20 has started, stopped. Hyundai I20 12 lakhs 11.45 white. Everything are printed. Okay. So to represent a real world entity in Java programming, we need to create objects. But in order to create objects, first we have to create a class template. Okay, we have to create a class. That class is nothing but a template or blueprint or plan using which we can create this kind of objects. We can create any number of objects using the new keyword and class name. We can create any number of objects for this class. Okay, and why we are creating objects? To represent the real world entities. Okay, in the Java programming, if you want to represent real world entities, real cars, if you want to represent, we need to create objects. Okay, so hope guys you got a idea like what exactly is an object in Java programming. Object is a representation or implementation of a real world entity in programming. It's an instance of a class. It's created with the help of a class, while class is a template or blueprint or plan for creating objects. Okay, so with practical demonstration, I have clearly demonstrated what exactly is an object. Okay, fine. So if you want to have this code like car code and demo class code, okay, I'll share that in the description. Okay, in the description for this video, I'll share this code. Okay, you can check the code. Okay, for this particular video. Fine. So the code will be provided. You just look after. Fine. So in the notes or something, I'll give the code, okay, for this particular thing. Fine. Okay, so this is what is an object, guys. Okay, so fine, that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye bye.